So next time you're having a bad day, just be thankful, at least you're not General Motors. Quote, California DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles, suspends cruisers' self-driving car permits effective immediately. This doesn't sound like a big deal. The key points here. The California DMV suspended cruisers' deployment and testing permits. This is very important, not just deployment, but also testing permits for its autonomous vehicles effective immediately. The news follows a barrage of safety concerns and incidents since Cruise, owned by General Motors, received approval in August for round-the-clock Robotaxi service in San Francisco. Quote, when there is an unreasonable risk to public safety, the DMV can immediately suspend or revoke permits, the California DMV said in a statement. So, clearly, the DMV believes, whether or not they're right, well, we'll get to that there is an unreasonable risk to public safety if Cruise's autonomous vehicles are allowed to operate or even test on roads. Boy, oh boy, let's find out what the hell is going on. Could read the article, but hey, let's see how this has been presented on CNBS. We'll watch this full segment. I'll share my comments after the fact and then dive a little bit deeper into what has actually gone on. Keep in mind, generally speaking, CNBS seem to be fairly pro General Motors, but being part of the fake news, they also drama queens, so let's find out how they present this. Keep in mind, it's possible this could be overreaction, so let's find out.
There's a major development just crossing in the last hour or so in the battle over driverless cars in San Francisco. And of course, Deirdre Bosa has that story for today's edition of Tech Check. This was the holy grail for me. If they could get this down, I could go to bed in New York and wake up in Washington, D.C. in my own car, but it's not going to happen anytime soon in California.
Yeah, the companies will certainly tell you that there's major safety implications. This is, the next technological breakthrough, but we're still a ways from there. And today's major setback for Cruise. California's DMV has suspended Cruise's driverless taxis here in San Francisco, effective immediately. Now, the notice from the DMV says that the vehicles aren't safe for public operation and that Cruise has misrepresented information relating to safety. In a statement on X, formerly known as Twitter, Cruise says the DMV is investigating an incident involving a pedestrian that was caught under a vehicle. Cruise says that it shared information with several regulatory agencies and will continue to cooperate. But this is a huge blow to Cruise, which is owned by General Motors. The San Francisco streets, they are a key testing ground for driverless cars, but Cruise vehicles have been involved in a number of incidents that have turned public safety agencies like the fire department against them. It's also led to more calls from public officials to suspend the program. Now, Cruise is also trying to catch up with Google-owned Waymo in the space, the other leading player in the race to develop autonomous vehicle technology. Both are expanding to more cities, and this suspension from California's DMV, that could have implications for Cruise's pilot programs elsewhere, widening that gap with Waymo even further. Now, we've been working on a larger piece about this topic here in San Francisco with our digital team, and I recently, just a few weeks ago, rode in a driverless Cruise and Waymo Robotaxis. Here is some footage from my Cruise ride. It didn't know what to do when another car was trying to back into a parking spot. So what you're seeing here is the driver got out of his car. He's very agitated. He spat on the vehicle, and then he kicked it. The steering wheel, as you can see here, it moved, but the car didn't go anywhere. And this was, I got to say, guys, an incredibly stressful situation that made me as the rider feel like this wasn't really ready for prime time. Of course, I'm just one rider, and this program has been in operation for a few months now. But by contrast, guys, I also rode in a self-driving Waymo Robotaxi. It was a lot smoother and far less eventful, and that program is still on here in San Francisco.
Deirdre, what exactly is it going to take? California, Arizona are arguably kind of more at the forefront of this autonomous driver revolution. What is it going to take for these companies to demonstrate for regulators that these cars can actually be used in roadworthy situations?
I think put simply, it's going to take many, many more miles, right? That's the only way that this technology improves. That's what the autonomous vehicle companies will tell you, is that they need to be able to test on the streets without a safety driver in real life situations in order to improve. But there's drawbacks to that as well, right? Some of the public safety agencies like the fire department says that we don't really want you to use our streets as a testing ground, especially after all these incidents that have come up. I mean, you've had vehicles in the way of ambulances, of fire trucks, in the way of crime scenes. So the technology at least some people say is not there yet, not ready for prime time. And that's essentially what the DMV is saying now. But it's kind of a catch-22. If they can't test on the streets, they can't get better. However, I'll say that this is just here in San Francisco. As you said, Dom, they're testing in other places like Arizona. They're looking to the streets of Miami, LA to do more of this. So they could continue to test there. But certainly a setback.
All right, Deirdre Bosa with the latest update on driverless cars. Thank you very much. Kelly, I would love to be able to, like I said, get into my car at 8 p.m. at night, fall asleep, wake up in Pinehurst, North Carolina, make a 9 o'clock tea time, and then get back in my car the next evening and just have it wake up at home.
That might be easier than traveling San Francisco. By the way, no tweets yet from Kyle Vaught of Cruise, who is, of course, probably the most vocal proponent of his technology and the whole industries. But a big setback for them, and honestly, it never really seemed ready for prime time. That's just my opinion.
Well, that's awkward. Something really stood out to me. The DMV said the decision was based on several factors. It cited 4 regulations that allow suspension in the event. Quote, the department determines the manufacturer's vehicles are not safe for the public's operation. And this is serious. Not that the safety thing isn't, but bro, if this is legit. The manufacturer has misrepresented some information related to safety of the autonomous technology of its vehicles. The DMV straight up claiming that Cruise here has misrepresented information relating to safety of its vehicles. So before we dive into exactly what was misrepresented, allegedly, just a couple of points that were discussed in that piece on CNBS. Number 1, quality human specimen there in San Francisco spitting on the Cruise vehicle, which I can understand it's a brain dead vehicle. It might be frustrating, but what the hell, bro? Guess he was just mad that he hadn't had his latest hit of fentanyl. I mean, what kind of a person spits on an autonomous vehicle with a camera in it, by the way, knowing that they're being filmed? I'll tell you, the kind of cretin that lives in San Francisco is unemployed, shoots up drugs in the street, and gets paid to do so. I'm just kidding. That would never happen in a developed city anywhere in the world, would it? No. Anyway, moving on. What we heard there from Deirdre, by the way, does anyone remember the visibly shaken comments? Same person. Hilarious. Shout out to the whole Twitter/X takeover. So we heard there, she's reiterating that these companies claim that their vehicles need more miles and need to be able to test on roads without a safety driver in order to get better. Now, this is true, miles equals data, but here's the thing. It's financially unsustainable for these companies to have every single vehicle operating with a driver behind the wheel. I mean, think about it. It's a full-time salary per vehicle on roads, right? This is why they're trying to have a lot of these vehicles driving autonomously now, because otherwise they could just have them driving with a safety driver in there constantly to take over in the case of an emergency, etc. Now, you guys may have seen the fire department obviously super pissed. Why? Because sometimes these things block traffic. Imagine there's a fire. People are at risk of burning to death. Fire truck can't get there. Why? Because there's a fucking Cruise vehicle sitting on the road going, Daddy, I'm confused. Please come get me. I'm hurt. What do I do? I'm just going to stop here. It's not good. But here's the thing. You know Tesla's strategy, right? All these folks get confused about this. People with small brain syndrome go, the Cruise at Waymo have autonomous vehicles already. They're way ahead of Tesla. Tesla's strategy is so smart. It's like some 200 IQ stuff right here. Let me explain. Tesla has literally millions of vehicles on roads today, collecting the data that companies like Cruise and Waymo also want. But Tesla doesn't have any driverless vehicles today. In fact, liability is still literally in the hands of the driver because people using Tesla's FSD software are required to supervise, intervene, and take over at any moment. Tesla gets all the data without the safety incidents. I wonder, over time, which company will win? Of course, then there's a whole generalized solution, which that in and of itself, it's a done deal. But even if that was put to the side, which company? The company with millions of vehicles on roads today that aren't autonomous, that aren't having safety incidents, that aren't causing residents to spit on them, that aren't going to have these same safety issues because a human driver is required to pay attention and be ready and able to take over at any moment. Or companies like Cruise and Waymo, who have a few vehicles on roads, can't afford to pay a safety driver to drive around all their vehicles. They can't afford to put millions of vehicles on roads and pay millions of salaries for full-time safety drivers. Which company do you think solves this problem? Yeah, it's a tough one. I can't figure it out. So now, let's dive in a little bit to these supposed misrepresentations of safety information. This is not good. So we're going to jump around a little bit. But first, on the Cruise website, a blog post, a detailed review of the recent SF hit and run incident. Now, if you guys want to read the full thing, I will put a link in the description. These are Cruise's own comments on an incident obviously involving the Cruise vehicle. Of course, the short story, a human driver allegedly collided with a pedestrian crossing the street in San Francisco. Then that launched the pedestrian directly in front of their vehicle. Anyway, like I said, you want to read the full thing? Link in description. Found this from Holmars on X. This is wild. The California DMV claims Cruise cropped the video of the hit and run incident, cutting after the first stop. In reality, Cruise executed a pullover maneuver with the woman underneath the car. The permit's been revoked for omission. Cruise denied they cropped the video. So what Holmars is suggesting here is that Cruise didn't show a full incident. They conveniently stopped it with the Cruise vehicle stopped as opposed to showing the full video, which by the sounds of it, the Cruise vehicle continued to drive with a woman trapped underneath. So let's read this. Order of suspension. An incident occurred on Market Street in San Francisco. A pedestrian was struck while in the crosswalk by an unknown third-party vehicle. This was the hit and run from a human driver, and fell into the path of a Cruise autonomous vehicle. The autonomous vehicle initiated hard braking maneuver and came to a complete stop. So far, so good. During the course of performing the hard braking maneuver, the autonomous vehicle collided with and ran over the pedestrian. After coming to a complete stop, and just in fairness, if a car hits somebody and they go flying in front of your vehicle and it's in motion, I mean, you can't really prevent that happening, right? Braked as fast as it could, supposedly. But here's where things get a bit troubling. After coming to a complete stop, the autonomous vehicle subsequently attempted to perform a pull-over maneuver while the pedestrian was underneath the vehicle. So it had come to a stop, which is the ideal situation. It's not great to be stopped with a person under the vehicle, but you know what's worse? Driving with a person under your vehicle, which is exactly what the Cruise tried to do. Because this vehicle is brain dead, it's like, oh, panic, okay, I need to engage a pullover maneuver now because something's gone wrong. Let me just engage the pullover maneuver while there's a pedestrian under the vehicle who is severely injured. The autonomous vehicle travelled approximately 20 feet and reached a speed of 7 miles per hour before coming to a subsequent and final stop. The pedestrian remained under the vehicle. Representatives of the DMV and California Highway Patrol met with representatives from Cruise to discuss the accident. During the meeting, the department was shown video footage of the accident captured by the autonomous vehicle's onboard cameras. The video footage presented to the department ended with the autonomous vehicle's initial stop following the hard braking maneuver. Footage of the subsequent movement of the autonomous vehicle to perform a pullover maneuver was not shown to the department, and Cruise did not disclose that any additional movement of the vehicle had occurred after the initial stop of the vehicle. The department only learned of the autonomous vehicle's subsequent movement via discussion with another government agency. This is really, really bad. This is intentional deception. Oh, I know it's an accident, Stephen. They accidentally forgot to show the full video and just forgot to mention all of the details of this extremely serious incident. Total accident, Stephen. You're just a deluded Tesla fanboy. I mean, bro, this is unconscionable, okay? As we see here, the department shall immediately suspend or revoke the manufacturer's testing permit, blah, 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 okay? If a vehicle is engaged in a practice such as a manner that immediate suspension is required for the safety of persons on a public road. After coming to an initial stop following the accident, the autonomous vehicle attempted to perform a pullover maneuver while the pedestrian was under the vehicle. This action increased the risk of and may have caused further injury to the pedestrian. The whole incident that Cruise just conveniently didn't show or discuss or disclose. Bad, bad, bad. There's something rotten at this company. The subsequent maneuvering of the vehicle indicates that Cruise's vehicles may lack the ability to respond in a safe and appropriate manner during incidents involving a pedestrian so as to not unnecessarily put the pedestrian or others at risk of further injury. Well, they don't have a brain. Again, I've told you guys a million times, these are glorified party tricks. Think of it as a car on rails without the actual rails. As long as nothing weird goes on, it's totally fine. But as soon as something changes, what have I said? What have I said? That's right, death machine on wheels. We're seeing an example of exactly that. There's no real-world AI here. There's no vision. There's no perception, planning, or action. It's a glorified party trick with safety nets, guardrails, training wheels. And as long as everything's fine and nothing changes, no problems. But as soon as something like this goes on, you have a death machine on wheels. I called it. So blah, blah, blah. More issues about safety and performing safely in these kind of situations until the department can make a determination regarding the safe operation of the vehicles. The continued operation of Cruise's driverless test vehicles on public roads poses an unreasonable risk to the public. And again, here's some legalese relating to what Cruise did. Any act or omission of the manufacturer or one of its agents, employees, contractors, or designees, which the department finds makes the conduct of autonomous vehicle testing on public roads by the manufacturer an unreasonable risk to the public. So, during the meeting, Cruise failed to disclose that the autonomous vehicle executed a pullover maneuver that increased the risk of and may have caused further injury to a pedestrian. Cruise's omission hinders the ability of the department to effectively and timely evaluate the safe operation of Cruise's vehicles and puts the safety of the public at risk. So like I said, this is unconscionable. There is something rotten at this company, and I mean at the core. How does anyone think it's okay with a serious incident like this to omit critical details relating to an injured person? I mean, they're still recovering. These could be life-threatening injuries. We don't know. and just accidentally, oops, we forgot to show you the full video. Let's not talk about that because it looks bad. I mean, for fuck's sake, you need to build trust as a company deploying these vehicles on roads. The last thing you want to do is engage in deception, dishonesty, omissions. And that's exactly what Cruise have done. This is absolutely unacceptable. In totally unrelated matters, I just thought it was worth sharing this also from Whole Mars. This is an extremely embarrassing moment for real Dano Dud. You know, the clown that's scared his company's going to go bankrupt because of Tesla. And his Dawn campaign of fraud and lies. For months, he advocated for and promoted Cruise, claiming it was safe for consumers to use. California just found it posed a risk to the public. So anyway, Mr. Burns reposting Dave Lee, who said there's a misconception going around that Tesla is behind with FSD because other companies are testing more autonomous vehicles at level 3 to 5 than Tesla. For example, Cruise. He responds, now that even the most devout cult members can see that Waymo and Cruise are way ahead of Tesla's full self-driving, here comes Prophet Dave Lee to give everybody the new dogma. Oh my God. There's more. Check this one out. Really recent. Tesla has done nothing to advance the state of the art in AI. We tested Cruise versus Tesla FSD. The Cruise was excellent and the Tesla tried to crash into other vehicles. But look, at least there is some good news from General Motors today.
In Q3, the UAW strike had a roughly $200 million EBIT impact. And so far in Q4, we estimate the lost production has had an incremental $600 million EBIT impact. Moving forward, we estimate that the impact of the UAW strike to be approximately $200 million per week based on the facilities impacted as of yesterday.
I thought they were making $200 million a week. What the hell, bro? Did you guys hear that? GM are estimating, based on current strikes, and by the way, the strikes could expand, they're losing $200 million per week. Per week. You want to annualize that? I mean, the math's pretty simple, but let's do it. That's an annualized rate of $10.4 billion of losses. Can you imagine losing $10.4 billion in a year? Can you imagine even having $10.4 billion in the first place? Probably not. Obviously, these strikes, hopefully at least, then again, hope's not a strategy, aren't going to go on that long. But just to put this in context, this is an annualized rate of loss of $10.4 billion. Let's just say, hypothetically, the strikes last an entire quarter, 3 months. That's $2.6 billion in losses. Tell you what, this is a shocking day for government motors. But don't worry, I'm sure they'll be able to suck on the teat of the US taxpayer when they go bankrupt again and get bailed out for the second time, right? And now just to quickly wrap up, a thread here on X from Cruise. We learned today that we're fucked. So apparently, according to Cruise, shortly after the incident, I wonder if the lawyers wrote this, spoiler alert, obviously they did. Shortly, well, what's the definition of shortly? Hours? Minutes? Days? Weeks? Months? Years? Shortly after the incident, when caught for omitting information, as in omitting part of the video, allegedly, our team proactively shared information. Reactively, by the sounds of it. Now, see, there's a problem here. What Cruise are claiming and what the DMV are claiming does not align. Cruise claim that shortly after the incident, their team proactively shared information, including the full video. Yet we've heard from the DMV that Cruise didn't share the information proactively. They just omitted it. They didn't share all of the video. They omitted it. And the only reason that the DMV knew that there was more to the incident was through discussions with other bodies. So the DMV itself, this is kind of like learning that your wife's banging another dude through one of your friends. And then your wife claiming that she proactively informed you that she was having an affair. What the hell? This doesn't make any sense. Who should we believe? Well, I'll leave that up to you, ladies and gentlemen. But all I got to say is this is bad. Hopefully this isn't a major setback for autonomous vehicles, but the incident in and of itself will attract a lot of attention, a lot of media. If it bleeds, it leads. Autonomous vehicle, crash, accident, etc. Blah, blah, blah. I get it. The media is likely to be a little unfair on this. However, that is entirely separate from the fact that these motherfuckers allegedly omitted critical information regarding this incident. Now, was it an accident or were they intentionally trying to conceal things that didn't paint them in a great light? Well, I don't know the answer to that, folks, so what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Want more content? Early access? A bunch of perks? Click the links in the pinned comment. Athletic Greens AG1 has given me a massive, meaningful boost in energy, allowing me to do a lot more every day, including using my brain more and using my body more. I highly recommend you guys and girls check it out. Athletic Greens AG1 is an excellent way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's got 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus prebiotics and probiotics and digestive enzymes and adaptogens to help you deal with stress. Plus, if you click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, you can get yourself a 1-year free supply of vitamin D3 and K2. But don't take my word for it. Here's what some of you guys and girls have to say. AG1 has changed my life. I was, as you described, treating myself like a circus, ate like trash, rarely exercised, used alcohol as a stress crutch, cannabis also. AG1 is what gave me the kick in the ass, got me back to the gym, motivated me to do more for myself, family, my business, etc. Keep doing what you do. Now, I know there's some skeptics, the same kind of people who think Elon Musk is a fraud, reading this going, what do you thought? There's no way that's possible, bro. It must be a placebo effect. Believe it or not, this is a recurring theme. If you give your body everything it needs to feel and perform its best, including having a lot more energy, you'll need ways to use that energy. For me personally, that includes more exercise, moving my body more social activity, and more cognitively demanding tasks, including producing a fuck ton of exclusive content over on Twitter and on Patreon, plus my daily YouTube uploads. The proof's in the pudding. On to another testimonial from a viewer of this channel. SMR, you asked me to provide feedback on AG1. Here it is. It has helped with mental acuity, stamina, and intestinal waste management. Can't read between the lines. Certainly helps with regularity and digestion. That's what the digestive enzymes are for. It has also dramatically reduced my cravings for sugar. You guys need to stop eating sugar. It's fucking poison. I'm 50, 5'9", and overweight, aka a fat motherfucker. I think that's a technical term for overweight, isn't it? Is it fat motherfucker or obese? I can't remember. I average 100 hours a week in the West Texas oil fields as a safety supervisor. Jesus Christ, dude. No wonder you're struggling to keep your weight under control. 100 hours a week. Brutal. It has helped me lose weight. It is not an appetite suppressant. It can help fat people suppress cravings, and motivation to be healthier is critical for changing your diet. Love you, brother. Again, this is a great point. It's something people really don't seem to grasp. If you have more energy, everything becomes easier. It's like turning on easy mode for life. A few years ago, before I was taking AG1, my health was trash. I was struggling to get through the day, had afternoon fatigue. The last thing I wanted to do was either use my brain or move my body. Didn't have the energy. Now, my biggest struggle every day is figuring out ways to use that energy. I'm exercising way more, doing a lot more with my friends and family, and of course, my work output has increased substantially. And you can fact check me. Check out the average length of my videos I was posting to YouTube 3 years ago. Need I say more? And one final testimonial. Love this one. Okay, here's the deal for me with this AG1 shit. I'm 41 years old and not the type to eat, drink, smoke, or sleep healthy, so I was skeptical. That being said, here's what I experienced. Day 1, meh. Day 2, afternoon fatigue was about 45 minutes late. Day 3, 0 afternoon fatigue. Day 4, 0 afternoon fatigue plus extra energy. Day 5, again, 0 afternoon fatigue plus energy, wondering, what the fuck, really? See, this is the thing, right? The results for many people are just almost too good to be true. This is the same experience I had. My afternoon fatigue just vanished out of nowhere. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Why am I not tired in the afternoons anymore? Surely, it's not that AG1 is it? Turns out it was. Day 6 and 7, same thing. Day 8, same thing. Plus, I had the want to get things done around the house that I normally would slack off and not get done. Again, the point, extra energy, you'll need to use it, you'll find ways to use it. Day 9, 10, and 11, and today is day 12. I fucking love it. So however you managed to get me to buy it, I'm so glad you did. Thank you so much, SMR. It really changed me so far. Guys, this shit really works. Just try it. By the way, this is the reason I continue to relentlessly promote AG1. A lot of people get real fucking mad in the comments. Oh my God, snake oil salmon's sold out. Oh my God, he's a scammer. This is fraud. But constantly, I'm pretty sure everyone making these comments is also currently short Tesla stock. I'm not particularly concerned about people having a negative perception, those folks suffering from small brain syndrome, still living in my bum's basement syndrome, etc., writing mean comments, claiming AG1's a scam or it doesn't work. I mean, bro, when I get feedback like this is what keeps me going. And remember, there is a 90-day money-back guarantee. There's nothing to lose here. Just try this stuff for a month, and if you don't get these results, get your money back. See, it's a literal no-brainer. It's an IQ test at this point in time. Testimonial after testimonial after testimonial like this. Get your money back if it doesn't work. Just try it for a month, and if it doesn't work, get your money back. Today's the day. It's finally time. Be like this guy who was a massive skeptic, but finally, after 1,000 promotions in a row, caved in, tried AG1, and has results like this. Head to drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link in the pinned comment, and please, let me know how you're feeling in a few weeks' time. Now, if you'll excuse me, time to put my extra energy to good use. I'll be recording some more exclusive content for Patreon and my Twitter subscribers. So click the links in the pinned comment. See you over on Twitter and or Patreon, and don't forget to grab your AG1. Love ya.